by a snake nose. Snakes only swallow their prey whole. They never chew, and I just swallowed a 3-foot black mamba. Despite its massive size, I forced myself to gulp it down. Because the global mutation was coming. 70% of all creatures would become mutant monsters, and this black mamba right here became a terrifying black dragon in my previous life. Only by swallowing it before the mutation. Could I evolve together with it? I was reborn 3 hours before the mutation hit. Without hesitation, I bolted out of class, headed straight for the hills behind school, searching like a madman for that black mamba. Only I knew how terrifying it would become. In my past life, super warriors who dominated humanity could only awaken armor power if they remained unmutated. I gave everything I had but never awakened, struggled for half my life, and died under the fangs of a mutant creature. So this time around, I decided to take a different path. When I reached the hills behind school, I tore through the trees and bushes like a headless chicken. 2.5 hours later, I finally spotted it under some shrubs. A jet black mamba coiled up resting in the woods. I was figuring out how to swallow it alive, when suddenly I heard a meow nearby. A muscular black cat had its eyes locked on the snake, creeping toward it with a sneaky look. When it got within a foot of the snake, the black mamba suddenly lunged, striking like lightning. But the cat was faster. It dodged back and swatted the snake flying. The two went at it. Before long, the dazed mamba tried to escape, but the cat wasn't letting its snack get away. It pounced and smacked it a few more times, leaving the mamba on death's door. Lying on the ground, barely twitching, the cat strutted up, looking all proud of itself. About to dig in, I burst out of the bushes and let out a roar. The cat freaked out and bolted several feet away, glaring daggers at me. I ignored it, grabbed the half-dead mamba, and checked the time. 4:59 p.m. Just in time. I gasped for air, staring at the groggy snake in my hands, as if seeing a bright future ahead. That black cat was still glaring at me from a distance. If I hadn't interfered, it would have had its meal, but I knew it never would have gotten to eat, because it was now 4:59 and 30 seconds. The aurora was about to arrive. The sky began to glow faintly. The aurora had entered the atmosphere. I took a deep breath. When the countdown hit 20 seconds, I opened wide and shoved it down my throat. A violent urge to vomit hit me, but I didn't stop. I could even feel it squirming in my stomach. At that very moment, a dazzling aurora swept silently across the sky. In that instant, something exploded inside me. The dying mamba became like a serpent of fire, burning wildly inside my body. I screamed in agony. My body began to transform violently. Black dragon scales burst through my skin. My black hair turned white in an instant. My blood felt like it was on fire. Bones shattered and reformed. I could feel clearly. The mamba was completely merging with me. I don't know how long it took. 2 black dragons emerged from my back. My teeth became razor sharp, even sprouting 2 dragon fangs. Explosive power surged through my body. Inherited memories flooded my mind. Feeling this overwhelming power, I trembled with excitement. Now with snow-white hair, blood-red eyes, a black dragon mark glowing faintly on my forehead, the dragon fangs slowly retracted under my control, returning to normal appearance. Just then, a young voice echoed in my mind. "Master." I froze. The twin dragons extended in front of me. "Master, I'm the black mamba you swallowed. So you're a reborn. I've seen your memories. Your past life was insane. Wow, I became that powerful later on. No wonder you risked your life to swallow me. I was surprised you can see my memories. Master, we're one now. No separation between us. Though you still have control of the body." After seeing what you went through, I don't even know what to say. His voice was young, but full of understanding and warmth. I smiled. "It's all right. From now on, I'll call you Little Dragon. This life, we're destined to become rulers." Little Dragon nodded firmly, then suddenly turned away. "Master, kill him." I looked up. That black cat from earlier had transformed into a beast, with bone spikes covering its back, roaring and charging at me. A cold glint flashed in my eyes. I pushed off the ground, cracking the earth beneath me. My hands transformed into razor-sharp dragon claws. I launched at it like a missile, and finished off the cat in an instant. I could feel waves of heat flowing through my body, my cells more active than ever before. I tried the cultivation method from my past life. As expected, I could no longer train by absorbing sunlight. I had to devour powerful creatures to grow stronger. Super warriors could absorb starlight after awakening, but that wasn't my path anymore. Little Dragon's voice turned cold. "Master, it's time for revenge. Wasn't there someone at school who treated you like an ant? Let's go end him now. Your memories are my memories." He knew exactly how much I hated that guy. Same school. Heir to a $100 billion empire, with a grandfather who was a military big shot. Although the aurora had swept the globe, the first 3 hours wouldn't be total chaos. By the time I reached the school gate, classes had ended. Students were streaming in and out. I didn't go in, just waited outside. Standing there for a bit, I finally spotted my target. He walked out with a few rich kids, laughing and joking as they came through the gate. The moment I saw that face, memories from my past life came flooding back. It was them who, to save themselves, pushed me out as bait for the monsters. Cost me 3 fingers, and nearly my life. A vicious look crept across my face. I strode toward them. One of his lackeys saw I wasn't moving aside and snapped. "Who the hell are you? Move it, loser!" Dong Fengshua glanced at me. "What's with this freak? Get lost." I said nothing, walked right up to him, reached out my left hand, and grabbed him by the throat. 2 security guards rushed over. I shot them a look, and they froze on the spot, chilled to the bone. In that split second, I kicked him hard right between the legs. Dong Fengshua let out a high-pitched scream. His eyes rolled back and he passed out. I felt a rush of satisfaction. After all, even without awakening powers, I survived 8 years in the apocalypse. The ruthlessness was already forged into my bones. A guard swung his baton and charged at me. A cold smirk crossed my face. I swept my leg at him. He's gonna die anyway. 2 hours early won't make a difference. The guard flew like a broken kite over 40 feet, dead on impact. If I didn't kill him now, he'd turn into a monster in 2 hours anyway. Just taking out the trash early. The students around me scrambled back in terror. Some called the police, others called for an ambulance. I said coldly, "Get out of here. Not many of you will make it through tonight. No point standing around watching." Having taken out my enemy from past life, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. After dropping those words, I turned and walked away. By 6 in the evening, the true apocalypse had begun. Screams and roars instantly drowned out the city streets. People running for their lives, suddenly foaming at the mouth, jaws stretching wide, turning around to devour their companions. Roadside trees withered instantly, shooting out grotesque tendrils, dragging passers-by into their trunks. I stood in an office on the 88th floor of a skyscraper, looking down at the entire city through the floor-to-ceiling windows, mutant monsters hunting down fleeing crowds everywhere. This was hell. I came here for the sharpest weapon I could find. A katana, fighting these disgusting things barehanded. Just wasn't gonna happen. Little Dragon's voice echoed in my head. "Master, should we grab supplies first? Or take out the Monkey King at the zoo?" Just then, a woman's scream came from outside the office door. A woman in business attire rushed in, panicked, fumbling to close the door, then collapsed to the ground, trembling all over, face full of despair. Who are you?" Only then did she notice someone else in the office, and the monster corpses on the floor. I gave her a passing glance, and headed straight for the door. She scrambled aside, watching me with fear, but her eyes flickered, probably calculating if she could use me to lure the monsters away, so she could escape to the basement. On her way here, she'd already thrown several colleagues to the wolves. Now seeing someone, her mind was working again. With her looks, what man wouldn't fall for it? Suddenly, something slammed hard against the office door. Roaring sounds outside. Her legs went weak. I ignored her, walked to the door, and yanked it open. "No, don't open it!" she screamed. 2 bug-like mutant creatures lunged in with razor-sharp claws. My katana left its sheath. A flash of cold steel, 2 arcs of blood. Both monster heads hit the floor instantly. She froze for a moment. Then hope exploded in her eyes. She scrambled toward me. "Please take me with you." I shot her a cold look, scoffed, and walked away. "Who do you think you are? I'll do anything you want. Please just take me with you, okay?" She chased me to the elevator, already reaching for her clothes. "Back off, in this world! Your kind is worthless." I shoved her out of the elevator and pressed the button for ground floor. "Bastard, leaving me to die. I curse you to rotten pieces." The doors closed. Her desperate screams echoed from outside. The elevator reached ground floor. Doors slowly opened. 4 monsters were right at the entrance. The moment they saw me, they roared with excitement. I stepped forward with my blade, tearing through them, like slicing through watermelons. "Master, where are we headed now?" "To take over an underground gang. Fighting alone has its limits. That gang has 6 or 7 super warriors." I walked out of the building and vanished into the night in a few flashes, as Little Dragon devoured mutant monsters. My hunger was satisfied too. When Little Dragon eats, it's like I'm eating too. At this point, I might not even be fully human anymore. Ever since I released the twin dragons from my back, even passing mutant monsters didn't dare attack me. They'd run the other way when they saw me. Though I wasn't hungry anymore, I was still thirsty. I was looking for some water, when heavy gunfire erupted from a nearby street. In the darkness, I dashed forward and disappeared at the end of the alley. When I reached the source, I saw a supermarket entrance, 20 or 30 fully armed soldiers firing like crazy, holding back waves of monsters from all directions. Gunshots and roars blended together. Someone who looked like the captain shouted, "Keep firing, stay calm, aim for the heads!" Once we clear this wave, we hold position inside and wait for backup. But there were just too many monsters. Some needed dozens of rounds just to go down. The soldiers were clearly starting to panic. Suddenly, a sharp tendril shot out from the darkness, piercing through 3 or 4 soldiers instantly and dragged them into the shadows. Not good. There's a higher tier monster hiding in the dark. The captain's face darkened. He threw 2 grenades into the dark trees and opened fire like mad. Over 100 survivors huddled inside the supermarket, listening to the gunfire and monster roars outside, all trembling in fear. Just as the squad was about to run out of ammo, the monster suddenly stopped their advance. Then scattered in all directions, everyone looked toward the darkness. Anyone who's been eaten alive by